Hey everyone, how you doing? Imran from Web Squadron. It's Tuesday, 22nd of April. I haven't done a live chat for about, well, I didn't do one last week, and that's mainly because I've been very, very busy. Obviously, you will see that I released a new PDF view code snippet. Wow, what a code snippet, right? I was so annoyed by how many solutions and tools and plugins there are out there that do like basics. And if you just want to do a little bit more, you got to pay for it. And I was not impressed because even when you pay for it, you're not getting anything amazing. Often, what they did is they give you a free plugin, but it's got their logo in the top left or right. And what I also didn't like is that when you are viewing a PDF, sometimes it was like a massive, it filled up your screen. So if you had like 3 or 4 PDFs on the screen and you wanted the user to be able to like open up multiple ones maybe and jump around with them, you couldn't really do that. And I really did not like that. Hey Raheem, my son has just said hello, Dad. So I'm going to say hello back to him. So I was not impressed by the plugins and tools that you had for PDF. I feel like they were cutting you short, and there were so many YouTube videos out there that was saying, hey, do you want to embed your PDFs for free? Do you want to view your PDFs? Do you want to, do stuff with them? And so many influencers and content creators, they've got their video right, and the title is free PDF, PDF for free. But it's not until later on in the video, towards the end, they go, oh yeah, but if you want to get rid of the logo, or if you want to do a little bit more, like we're talking basics, like literally basics. Maybe you want to have more than one PDF. Maybe you want to get rid of the logo. Maybe you want to be able to, well, do you know what? They never really gave you much, but you're paying a premium for basic features. And I was not impressed by that at all. So the PDF view code snippet I pulled together, I feel like it gives you so much extra stuff. Number one, when you got a download button or not, you don't have to show it. It disables right click, even though technically if someone really wants to get hold of your PDF, they're going to find a way to get hold of your PDF, right? Thumbnails. The fact it works on the mobile. How many solutions don't work properly on the mobile? What about when you go to view full screen? You can show the thumbnails or not, show the view full screen or not, and it uses like retina optimization so that some solutions, when you go to PDF, they're actually a little bit blurred or they're too sharp. So now the letters, like if you're reading an ebook, it's too sharp, like it looks noisy because it's so sharp. This just does it all. You know what I mean? And I'm so super chuffed and happy because last week I was working on that and I had a client project which is now close to closing off. Got to migrate it and then hopefully sort out any link breakages. That's gone really, really well. And hey, Tom Upton and Carapos tried some PDF viewers a year ago. Very buggy, I know. And I have been testing this solution out to the max. And when I say testing out on the mobile, I was like purging and then checking, and if I felt there needed to be a little bit of improvement or customization, I was putting all of that into place, and I am really, really happy with it. And I know someone who works with Elementor. He has used it, and they even shared a link with where they've used it, and they were like, they're just blown away. Because they said, you won't believe this, but the night before, I was looking at PDF solutions, and there was always like a little bit of a problem, and you're not too sure of how to solve it, or you weren't getting all the features you thought you're getting. There was someone on the Web Squadron Facebook group. She went and paid for, was it PDF embed PDF? So she paid the premium to get what she wanted. And I'm like, here you go. You've got this now. Some of the things my code does not do, because I tried to do it, but I found it broke something or it didn't work well. So I thought, right, I'm not going to do it. One of them is like the ability to jump to any page you want. You can't really do that, but you do have the scroll bar. So in a way, you can scroll and then click and go straight there. So I feel like that's a pretty decent compromise. The other thing it doesn't do, and I did try this, I tried to use a JavaScript library. So you can't finger move the pages. You got to use either the chevron or the thumbnail, because I found that when I do this, sometimes it caused a jump. So what would happen is you do it and there might be a jump in like the movement. Sometimes it was smooth, sometimes it jumped. And sometimes when you do that, it caused a jump in the thumbnail, whereas now you get a lovely scroll motion. And again, I was like, I don't want to add that feature in if it's going to break the way it works. And then the third thing it did work, was where you have the fold of the page. So as you move the pages, it folds. Again, when you start to add in all the other components, sometimes you did it and it jumped. There was always like a bit of a like, almost not a resize, but it felt like it was noticeable to me. For some people, they might not notice it, but for me, it was. And also, it was fiddly on the mobile. So I went, this works. And the other great thing is that you can use your keyboard. So I tried to make it as accessible as possible. I've ensured it's got like alt image descriptions for your cover, so it picks up that. I've tried to ensure it's got thumbnail alt description as well of some sort. But I think it is way better than any premium solution that has ever been shared ever before. And I hope that a lot of the content influencers out there that have done videos on how to embed your PDF are going to start promoting it. I don't think a lot of them will. You know why? Because a lot of them were happy to promote a solution where they know you've got to upgrade to get rid of the logo. And there's nothing more than I hate. I despise plugins where there's a logo embedded or a watermark on whatever you're outputting. So here's a free plugin that's going to give you X, Y, Z, but we're going to stick our logo there. Why would anyone, if you've got a branded website or you're working with a client and you've got a color scheme or a certain look, why would you want to have like an orange yellow logo visible in the corner of your PDF viewer? You know, and there's always ways that you can tinker with it, but then you are entering a dangerous game, because if a plugin company ever finds out that you used code to get rid of the login without getting the premium route, they have got grounds to kind of take action against you, because you were kind of hacking your way into change the way their plugin works. So I've been really happy. And so far, people that are using it are really happy. And the other big thing was the custom fields, right? If you watched a whole video towards the end, or the last 30%, I show how if you got a custom post type, custom fields, you could now have a loop grid, right? Say you've got, I don't know, 30 ebooks. Maybe you're an author. Okay, imagine you're an author that's written 30 books. You could now have chapter 1, right? And then underneath it, you could have a button which is buy now. And then it takes them to Amazon, or it takes them to a page where they can buy it. But you could now let users read chapter 1. You could even add in an audio clip if you want. Remember, it's custom fields, right? You'll have your cover image. You'll have your URL for the PDF. You could have an MP3 file as well. And then you can show all of that in your loop grid. And then they can just scroll and read page 1 or listen to it and then go and buy the book. The options for this are immense. You could have a section where you're a web designer and you explain like, here are your services. And then you could have an ebook. You don't show the thumbnail, don't show the download, keep the view full screen if you want. And it now might be like where they can actually see the process. Maybe you've got a 6-step process: discovery call, get the resources, get the 50% deposit, build a home page, build the rest of the website, get the final 50%, handover and all of that. And you could either do that as a flow chart that goes on and on and on and on, or you could explain it in a bit of text, but then you could have this PDF that actually breaks it down better, like an infographic or something like that. And that is something where the user now is going to get shitload more information than what they would have got from a little box that says, hey, we got a 6-step process. So I think the options of what you can do here are, well, quite open. Not infinite. I wouldn't say it's infinite, but it is almost close to that because you could do so much with it. And I'd love to see people who do start using it, because I think that's the biggest question I kept seeing a lot. I want to embed a PDF. Okay, go and use this solution. Oh, but it doesn't do that, or it doesn't do this. And it was annoying a lot of people. And like I said last week, started a holiday website. Well, not started a holiday website. It's an existing holiday website. They've been running that website since, I think, 2015, from what I recall. And they needed a major makeover. Hey, Jono, they needed a major makeover. Oh, by the way, hey, Stacy. And the website just, they've been working on it like quite a bit on and off. But the problem with it was it looked dated, number one. But also, as you moved around the website to locations, contact page, blog, about why you should book with us, the inquiries page, everything felt different. The only consistency were the colors they used, but the styles, the layouts, everything felt like someone else has built it. I know it was probably 2 people who built it, but I think what happens is, if you're working on a website project, and this website had hundreds of pages, okay, what happens is you build out your homepage. You might tinker with that now and again, and then you build another page, and then you're now going to build it based on what your skills are now or what you've learned. And then you build another page, and now you've learned to do something else, and then you build it with those skills. And what happens is you get to a point where you have basic pages, more advanced pages, pages that look clunky, pages that look fussy, messy, too much going on, pages that have got way too much animation, pages that have a style of loop grid, another page with a different style of loop grid for no good reason, different filtering systems, destination pages, right? You should have a way to present it. What will change is the detail and the content, but the layout should be, relatively the same. You got different layouts going on here now, and things just feel like it's been work in motion progress all the time, chugging along. So they approached me. I gave them a price. I didn't hold back. I said, look, you got so much here. Why don't you focus on just these pages? You got all that. Focus on that. Get that right. I'll also create some dummy pages for you so that when you do now want to work on this stuff, you've got something to refer back to. Duplicate it, change the content, move on. And so far, I think they've been a bit shocked at how quick I've been building things out. So far in total, the website is 49 pages, including the privacy policy and the terms and condition. I class those as minor pages, so 47 pages. And every page deserves to be there. They all serve different purposes, but I think they've been really impressed, shocked, happy, because what I said to them was, your logo is mainly like brown and a bit of pink kind of thing. Let's soften down the page, because you're a holiday website. So you're going to have a lot of images of tropical beaches, Paris, Egypt, Africa, Antarctica, Australia, New York. You're going to have loads of these bright images, right? And all of the images are different in what they do, the layout, landscape, people on beaches, families, running with their dog. There's all these different images. So your colors are very varied, okay? So what we need to now do is, because you've already got a lot of bright colors, we need to soften the page. So your logo has got a very strong brown, but then you got this pink, right? What complements pink and the brown? Well, we'll go for some cream, and we'll go for a very soft pastel-y blue. And when I say pastel-y blue, it's more of a pastel teal color. And now the website, right, other than the images which are bright, and now I made sure we put them in the right places, so to make sure that you don't have too many busy and dull or whatever, mix it up and everything. And I even went and got them some extra images off Canva and Unsplash. The bulk of the pages now are soft pastel, white background or cream background. So we can vary some of the sections now and again. The buttons are always the pink or the pastel pink or pastel teal. The headings are always pastel pink or pastel teal again. And the page it feels easy on the eye. You know when you go to a page in New York and you've got a photo of Times Square, I mean, other stuff to do with North America and whatever going on, right? Times Square is bright, right? It's like boom, kind of thing in your face, right? So what you want to do is soften the page out. And I think they've just been blown away. Like their team page. The team page was different sized images for people. Every photo looked like it had been taken with an iPhone wherever they were. So one person's in Disney World, one person's at a desk, one person is outside, one person's in a garden, one person looks like they've just been surfing or whatever. So I said to them all, go and take your photos again, but this time get your photos looking at you, right? Don't worry about the background too much. Just make sure your background is plain. So I got their photos, right? What did I do? I stripped the background in Canva. Some of them were sat a bit like this or a bit like that. So what do? You rotate it, right? You put a circle frame on Canva. You stick the photo and you rotate them so they are now all straight. You strip out the background and then you put a pastel cream color in. And now every single one of them, because they're all wearing the same black t-shirts, they were very good. They listened to me. They wore the same black t-shirt. So now you get this part of them. It looks like all of them were taken in a studio in the same area, right? Consistency on your team page. And that's the message when it comes to makeovers. I mean, we did have to rebuild completely from scratch. I told them, create a staging site, right? And don't touch it. I'll do my stuff. And here's the big news. Here's the big thing, right? How big do you think their original website was? And they were using WebP images as well. But how big do you think their website was? They actually had nearly 200 pages. How big do you think their original website was? And I'll tell you what it is now, right? They had over 200 pages. A lot of the pages were not needed. A lot of the pages were drafts that they had built 7-8 years ago but never released. They were redundant. How big do you think the website was in terms of files and databases? How big do you think it was? Obviously, I loaded in the Pix Refiner plugin in their new website. Of course I would. The Pix Refiner plugin is probably, I think, one of the most amazing WebP compression, AVI compression, converting, styling tool out there for free. But how big do you think the website was? Libra Productions said, let's start under 5 plugins e-commerce website challenge. Well, under 5 plugins. Well, if you're using Elementor, that's 2 plugins gone. If you're using just Gutenberg, you will have a very basic looking website. I don't care what anyone says here, right? But it'll be quite basic, right? Unless you're happy to do quite a bit of coding. But if you were just going to use like Gutenberg, WooCommerce, one payment gateway, you could get away with 3 or 4 plugins. Like we're talking super basic, right? You might have a security plugin, or you might just rely on your host provider. The same with backups as well. You might rely on your host provider. So yeah, you could do it. But I do wonder though, under 5, sounds a bit light. What about SEO? What about the code snippets plugin? Does that count as a plugin? I mean, it is a plugin. So you would have to stick some code in there, I suppose. So who wants to take a guess on how big the website was? So I'm going to wait for you all to kind of stick in a value. You are allowed to use gigabytes, obviously. So how many gigs was their original website? And what is it now? And by the way, the website's built with Elementor Pro. When I finished the homepage, it was 99% mobile and 100% desktop, right? And it didn't even have the fast press speed optimization plugin installed, mainly because their host provider doesn't have the SQLite something something package loaded up, so I didn't install it. But their website is doing super big. So 20.10 says 4 gig. He then also said 1 gig. Harasno from Sarajevo, Bosnia. How are you doing? So this holiday website that I've been working on, how big do you think it was? I'm going to wait about 1 more minute if anyone else wants to pop in a value. How have you all been, though, over this Easter break? I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure every country, or in the Western world anyway, will have an Easter break, I think. Hope you all had a good break. But yeah, this website, holiday destinations, travel agency, tour operator website. They had over 200 pages. Obviously, they're going to have lots and lots of images. It's not a WooCommerce. They're not selling products. I really don't like working on e-commerce websites. I really get bogged down with how, like, there's so many little things and settings and stuff you got to do. It takes the fun out of building websites, you know? Because at the end of the day, product archive, you might have a category archive, you'll have a single product page, cart page, checkout page, login page, account page. It is really not fun, is it? It's like so ultra flipping boring kind of thing. But if it pays well, you do it. Okay, so this website that had over 200 pages, okay, was 14 gigabytes. 14 gigabytes. When I first found that out, I straight away thought, hold on. Are they storing backup upon backup upon backup, and that's piling up the size? So I cleared out their backups, and I made a backup. Obviously, I cleared out their backups, made a backup, made sure they were okay. 14, but it was still 14 gigabytes. 14. What would you do if you came across a website that was 14 gigabytes? They had a lot of images, a lot of pages, a lot of stuff going on. They actually had a lot of plugins. They had 34 plugins. So tell me what you would do if you came across a website that had 14 gigabytes. It's a bit light at the moment, isn't it? We're not having much conversation at the moment, but that's okay. So Phantom Crane, 2 gigabytes versus 400 megabyte. So this website, okay, was 14 gigabytes and it had about 34 plugins. Right now, the website is 8 plugins. I need to add one more, which is the cookie bot, but I don't want to do that until we've migrated, and then I'll do it then, right? So 14 megabytes, 34 plugins. Now it is 8 plugins. It will become 9, right? And the size is 260 megabytes. We've gone from 14 gig, right? They had over 200 pages. Right now it's 49 pages. It will grow. But even then, we've gone from 14 gigabyte to close to 0.3 gigabyte, 14 to 0.3, 260 megabytes. That's the difference, okay, with when you think methodically with what you're building and how you're building. And their website now has more functionality, more features, more consistency, better flow, better call to actions. Get rid of the fluff, get rid of the gunk, get rid of the waffle. Don't overcomplicate, don't confuse and all of that shit. Okay? And we've gone from 34 plugins down to 9 when I eventually add in the cookie thing. I keep saying that. It's 8, but it will become 9. That's the thing. Well, here's the thing, Ronald. Here's the thing. They had a good chunk of compressed images. They had a good chunk. There was still a load that weren't. But here's the problem, Ronald, right? Here's the problem. Even though you have web... In fact, let me pose the question back to a lot of you. For those of you that have used the Pix Refiner tool, what was one of the things that I wanted to help you out with? Can you remember? And it wasn't just the compression or the conversion to AVIF or WebP. Do any of you remember what else it did? Because I showed it in the first 2 videos I did about the tool when I released version 1 and then version 2. Do you remember? Because even with a WebP image, even when you load through one WebP image, what does WordPress do with that one WebP image? What do you think it does? So imagine, right, you got loads of images, okay, and you've already compressed them. So you've ticked the box. Use tiny PNG, use short pixel, you used EWWW or some other, the Elemental image optimization tool or bulk resizephotos.com. What happens when you load one PNG? In fact, let me break it down to you. Holiday photos can be quite big, number one, right? It could be a 3,840 pixel wide image. Why do you need an image that wide? You're never going to fucking use an image that wide on your website, especially when it's just like that, but you still got a big wide image. 3840. You load one 3840 by 2160 image, one WebP image, all right? It might be 200 kilobytes. One image. What happens? What happens? So Ronald's got it. Derivatives. So when you add a 3840 WebP, you will get 10 images. Look at my fingers. You'll get 10. You'll get the let me do the fingers right. You'll get the 3840, right? You'll get the 1920. You'll then get a 1536. You'll then get a 1200 maybe. No, 1080 maybe, or 1086. You'll get a 768. You'll get a 6 something something, a 500, a 4, a 3, and then or something like that. And then it goes, you'll have the 150. You will get 10 images. So if you've loaded in 100 WebP images, there's probably 1,000, probably more than that. No, 100, 10,000. No, I'm getting my maths all wrong now. No, times 10. 100 times 10. Yeah, 1,000. Right? So the Pix Refiner, not only did it ensure that any images loaded through were converted into WebP, it also made sure there were only 4 versions, right? The 1920, even if it's at 3840, it down to 1920. We had a 1200. No, we didn't. Yeah, it was a 1920, 1200. You had a 600. You had a 300 and you had the 150, so technically 5. But because it restricted how many derivatives are created, the sizes, the media library, you know, that was just... I mean, can you imagine migrating a 14 gig website? Let's say you took a migration, you downloaded a backup, and your website died, and you now try to re-upload a 14 gig website. It might not work. Because I've been there where an 8 gig website, it loads and then it just stutters. Even though you've got it on your hard drive, it just suddenly goes, oh God, it's not taking it all. Ronald says, I've been running a tech blog for 9 years. It's got about 400 posts. Every post got 4 or 5 images on average. Site is 3.8. Yeah, I mean, they just had derivatives. Loads and loads and loads of derivatives. It was 14 gig. But now it's 260 megabytes. That's huge difference to what they had. Business growth ready. WordPress treats images like rabbits, constantly pregnant, making babies of the same. Coded out, except the web piece like below. Don't need thumbnails, small website. Yeah, I mean, I would say, that if you are not going to use like a product, a shop, and you're not going to do blog posts, so you're not going to have like a loop grid, you don't need the thumbnail. I mean, I would say the thumbnail is still kind of needed because, you know, when you go to media library, it might show your images, but one day all of your images in your media library will go blank. You haven't lost your images. They're still on your page, but in the media library, the little square image you get, that's your thumbnail. And the great thing about the Pix Refiner is that when it does convert and do everything, it regenerates them for you so you don't lose anything like that. But yeah, it's one of the things that I still do not understand is why do WordPress not inform you more? Because you have the media setting, and a lot of people think that's all they're getting. Let's just zero it out. We're okay. Yeah, that works. But there's like 7 other sizes that are being created that you know nothing about. And I still feel like, for all the features that WordPress core and Gutenberg are doing, I just think like they're a little bit like stupid. I think they're really thick for not going, well, we need to sort out the WebP. Well, okay, fine. Some people are like, but I don't want to use WebP because my JPEG's already too small, or I want to use AVI, but I don't want to use JPEG, or I don't want to use WebP. There's all these arguments about what format to use, all right? You're going to hear that all the bloody time. So let's just forget the format. Let's park it, all right? Whatever you want to use, fine. Use what you want to use. But what WordPress could do, regardless of the size, is stop the fucking derivatives in the media library, not the media library, in the files and database. But so many people do not know about unless you go looking for it, or you sit there going, my database is 2 gig. I've got 5 pages. There's not a lot on them. I haven't bloated my plugins, and I've only got 20 images. What's happening? And you'll go, yeah, okay, I did, add lots of images over the last 5 years, but whenever I don't need them, I've deleted them. Yeah, brilliant. But your file and database still probably holds the flipping derivative. Because even when you delete media from media library, most of the time it deletes it from the file and database. But sometimes it doesn't. And you wouldn't know that. Because unless you go looking for it, the file and database, it's not there. Sorry, you won't know about it. And then when you realize it's there, you got to get rid of them one by one, and it's a pain in the ass. So I think the Pix Refiner tool, for me, was a big game changer. I know some people with Hostinger have struggled, but I can't do anything about that. That's between you and your host provider. The new PDF view code snippet I put out yesterday, that has got to be the biggest game changer for viewing PDFs on any website, I think, without a shadow of a doubt, right? And if people have not given it a go, add a PDF to your media library, go and give it a go. I think you'll be pleasantly shocked with what it does. So Ronald says, what did you do to solve the 14 gig site? It's a complete brand new site, Ronald. Brand new site. Because if you try and clear up a 14 gig website, there's going to be so much legacy code. Remember, this website's been worked on for over 10 years, right? Just over 10 years. 2015, but 2025 now, so it's just over 10 years. So basically, I just said to them, make a brand new staging site with a fresh installation, fresh files, fresh database, everything. I don't want anything from the existing website to be on there. I want it to be a fresh WordPress installation, right? From the start, right from the start, square one. And then you build it. You add your components, your plugins, your settings, your snippets, your Pix Refiner, and you build it. And that's what I did. Because I have worked on websites where there's crap, but there is a little bit of nervousness to removing things, because I look at a plugin and I go, you don't need that. But now I have to ensure that if I remove that, what will break? If it breaks one of your pages or one of your sections, can I recreate it without using the extra plugin? Or can I give you a compromise or a different version? And are you going to like that? Or will you still want to go, no, I want to go back to what we had? So there's so much you know, there's a lot of thinking you got to do here about, well, what are we trying to achieve and how do we do that? 997, should that snippet work? It'll be amazing. It does work. The PDF one works absolutely brilliantly. And I've had people email me. They've sent me links to their pages where they're using it. They have even said it's like a game changer for them. There are authors who are now going, oh my God, I could have a loop grid and I could have my PDF and a buy now button. You know, I could have all of this, and the link is based on a custom field as well. So it specifically takes them to an Amazon page or somewhere where they can go and download it for free or whatever. So much freedom you get that you did not get before with other plugins, premium plugins. Like, how annoying is it that some of these are asking for like $10 a month, right? Or $25 one off or whatever for you to remove a logo. And I love how when I do create these snippets, within the code, it might say my name, it might say who I am or whatever, or how you can donate to me. That's in the code snippet. On the front end, you don't see none of that shit, right? There's no logo, there's no gateway to lock it away from you. And because I feel like the more that we can create, I said something yesterday, and some people have come back and said, oh, we don't like what you're saying there. I have seen a lot of people pushing out codes on Twitter and other places, but they are what I call codes for your pet project. So you want to do something funky with your music. You want to do something for your finances or what food you should be eating. And they go and tell the whole world all about it. And I look at it and go, that's only useful for you. It's very bespoke and unique for your circumstances. It's not scalable. It's not generalistic enough for others to use. And I feel like that if you are going to share any, Raheem, I'm on the live chat. So if you are going to share any like codes, or the codes I share, I would rather share something that I know is scalable, that you could quite easily use for yourself, your business, or your clients with no cost attached, and it's generalistic. You could use it, right? And some people have said, oh, that's very negative. If people want to shout about their code, they can. And I go, well, I don't agree with that. I have done loads of stuff in my life, you know, analytics, SQL, Excel. I've done loads of stuff, but I don't tell the whole world about it. You know why? Because it was personal or useful for me. It's for me, right? I don't have to share it and let everyone know, oh yeah, look at this, blah, blah, blah. But when I created like a report in the NHS, I once did using a data set that would be great for anyone who wants to use it nationally. I shared it, I let people know, and they started using it. When it's worth telling because it's scalable, that's what I want to do. And that's the reason why when I do videos about some code snippets or a bit of CSS or, I don't know, the Apple menu or off canvas or whatever, you know, horizontal, vertical scrolling, you know, all of that, the PDF as an example, I want you to be empowered to advance the code or create your own version for your own purposes, or just realize that I can do this. I can now add a PDF viewer to my website, my client's website, that works. And it works on the mobile. And I can still scroll the thumbnails. Did you see that bit of the video? I was like that. And I didn't see a delay. Did you see a delay? It works. And that's the difference I find with pet project codes and scalable codes. So that's what I want to do. Business growth. Let's all go back to Oh my goodness me. .bmp. That brings back memories. Wasn't all of the images you took from Microsoft Paint .bmp? I'm sure it was, wasn't it? Everything was .bmp. And what did we get after .bmp? Was it JPEG? Or was it around the same time? Because PNG came out after JPEG. I might have it wrong. But anyway, yeah, PM.p. Was it PNG that came out afterwards? I can't remember now. But yeah, .bmp. I remember the days, right? Microsoft Paint. Because that's what we used to use, right? The amount of stuff I used to do with Microsoft Paint. And what you would do is you would zoom in, right, to Microsoft Paint so you could see the pixels. And sometimes you were like coloring in the pixels to get that as smooth as possible because it wasn't too jagged or whatever. Those were the days, right? Microsoft Paint. Wow. Hey Dennis, how you doing? Have you tried out the PDF view? If not, go and give it a go. We've been live for 40 minutes. And I have got, while I've been live, I've had some emails come in. I'm just going to delete a few because I can tell they are spam. You know, they're not even worth my time opening up. Oh, what's this? Oh no, forget that. Yes, so there have been some people who were a little bit not offended, but they were like, they were angry. They were like irritated that I said, I don't want to know about your pet project code. It's like, who cares about it? So 997 says, what about using AI to generate actual plugins? So I could have turned the Pix Refiner into a plugin. I could have turned the PDF view into a plugin. I could have done that, but I didn't want to do that because then I am going to have to forever look after it. I'll have to monitor the support forum. I'll have to have a proper change log. I'll have to, you know, make a submission. Then I have to make sure I hit all the criteria. And I thought, I can't be arsed with that because it's a code snippet. And in some way, the basis of the code snippets plugin is to reduce the amount of plugins you need. Because plugins always carry a bit more than the code. You might have the JS library within there. And then you got to make sure you maintain that because what if it's out of date as well? Stuff like that. You might have images. You might have other documentation. And then it all of a sudden becomes a bit of work. I want this to be free. How much more free time can I put into this? And I felt that the code snippet was the way I wanted to go with it, basically. But yeah, you could use it. You can very easily. I mean, I could take my code, stick it into ChatGPT and say, right, now tell me step by step, as if I am 5 years old, how to convert and make this into a workable plugin. And it would tell me what I need to do or talk me through it or even do bits for me. And then away we go. Dennis has been a bit busy. I was actually very busy last week, which is why I did no live chats. Like I said, I was working on the PDF thing very early in the morning between 5 and 7 a.m. And then I would move on to my normal tasks. Then the whole of my day would be website makeover and some other stuff. And then towards the evening is when I then resumed, you know, right, where did I get up to in the morning with the PDF thing? You know, was I in a happy place or was I frustrated? Right, what can we do now? And then sleep on it. Next morning, you resume. You go like that. You go through the motion. But it's a very busy week, and I really did not have capacity or time for... Sorry, I'm going to yawn. For the live chats, unfortunately. So Dennis is finishing some websites for clients for work, and I built a new PrestaShop homepage for a client. Well done. I was saying earlier, Dennis, before you came on, that I am really fed up of e-commerce websites. If you want one, I'll work with you on it. In fact, I did have someone who arranged a meeting with me and they wanted me to do loads of changes. I actually quoted them $12,000. Their jaw dropped because that's the kind of cost I would put for the amount of work they needed. And we had to almost rebuild their WooCommerce part of it. And then I said, well, okay, what's your budget? And they were like, the most I can give you is 3,000, which converts to about 2,100 British pounds. And I said, well, for that, the best I can do for you is your WooCommerce settings, your product archive, your single product, your filters, ensure your cart checkout pages, account pages all look good. And as long as you do your payment gateway, make sure the flow for that is all okay. I can do that bit for you. But everything else for your website, your homepage, your contact, your about, all of those pages, some other pages and stuff like that, that you won't get that. But for 2,100, this is the best I can do. And they were like, oh, I was hoping I could get more. And that brings me on to something I shared today on Web Squadron post, which was, don't drop your price just because you sound like a decent person, right? Because I've never met this person before, okay? We've arranged a meeting and they're telling me how much they love my videos, how much they've learned from me, how they never thought it was possible, how they're like super, super, super happy. Right, I've just got to take this call, okay? I've just got to take this call. If the call is too long, I will cancel.